Hey, welcome back, guys. This is going to be my second video. I'm going to be talking about more Star Rail today. Basically going to be going over the main mechanics of the game, such as the gameplay and the fight mechanics. I'm also going to be going over some of the elements that I didn't cover in the last video. So anyway, let's get that started. So what do we have here? We have a battle in Star Rail. This is going to be a turn-based, so you basically have to choose your targets and attack wisely. But let's go over a few things here that we're looking at. So in this picture, we can see that there's 5 enemies, and I'm pretty sure the maximum amount of enemies on the screen that you can have, at least from what I understand, is 5. That could change in the future. It's either 5 or less. And on the bottom right, we have our skills. So there are a maximum of 3 skills that a character has, based off of what we know. There's only 2 of them here, so my assumption is that you can switch between different skills based on what kind of battle you're about to fight. I don't know if you can change it in-game, or sorry, not in-game, but in the battle, or you have to change it before you actually start the battle, but either it's Q or E. Some of them can be either like AoE attacks or single target attacks. Now next to it, you can see that there's like 5 little stars there. I'm not sure exactly what that is just yet. However, what I do know is that since I've been watching a few gameplay videos, it does go up every tick after every turn. So he'll use an ability, let's just say he uses a Q ability, and that one of those stars will start lighting up and it'll go all the way to the right, ticking each one off. I'm not sure exactly what it does yet. We're gonna have to wait and see, or unless I get some more information. But in the meantime, let's move on. On the left, we actually see that there's a turn order. So here at the top is where it starts. So that is our character. That means it's our turn. And the next one is the enemy, probably one of these little blade guys. I'm not really sure which one though. So whoever's on the top gets to go first, and whoever's on the bottom gets to go last. And on the bottom left, we can see our character, plus, I didn't mention this before, but each character has an ultimate, and that ultimate is that little circle, it's a meter right there, and once it fills up all the way, that means you can cast your ultimate, and each ultimate is really freaking cool. We'll eventually go over those in a later video, but for now, let's move on. So moving on to elements, I actually have this picture, credited at the bottom left by a guy named Skyverlash, but we have a grand total of 7 elements here. So we have ice, we have fire, wind, lightning, quantum, imaginary, and physical. So it says here on ice, let's go over ice first of all. It says apply frozen to the enemy, preventing them from taking action, plus ice damage over time. So what I get from that is action means that they cannot make their turn. So I would assume if you apply ice to an enemy, they will not be able to make their turn, possibly skipping over to the next person in line, something like that. With fire, you actually deal fire damage to the enemy and apply fire damage to them, plus fire damage over time. Nothing special here, probably just literally just like fire, just kind of like how Pokemon is, where once you apply fire to someone, it starts doing more and more damage over time, stuff like that. Wind, deal wind damage to the enemy and apply wind shear to them, plus wind damage over time. I'm not actually sure what wind shear means, but it's probably some debuff that is like applied to the enemy that we are not really sure just yet. Maybe this sheer debuff, maybe it lowers their defenses, or maybe it makes it so they don't do as much damage, or maybe they're slower. I'm not absolutely sure just yet. Moving on to lightning, deal lightning damage to the enemy and apply shock effect plus lightning damage over time. So I assume this is probably similar to ice, maybe, because I know with lightning you can stun someone, but I'm not sure if that's how this is going to work. We're not really sure just yet. Moving on to quantum, apply entanglement effect to the enemy, delaying enemy actions, plus quantum damage over time. So this one probably means that it's going to slow down an enemy. Maybe they have to wait longer on their turn, that kind of thing. And then imaginary, apply imprisonment effect to the enemy, delaying enemy actions, and then it reduces enemy speed. So this could also mean that they don't get to make their turn as fast. They probably will have to wait longer to make their turn. I'm not really sure just yet. Again, this is all speculation. Last one is deal physical damage to the enemy, apply bleed effect to them, plus physical damage over time. So physical is its own element, basically. Bleed, I also assume, is kind of like a fire where it kind of just does more and more damage over time. Maybe. That's what it sounds like though. That's what it when I read that, that's what it sounds like to me. This kind of reminds me of Genshin, obviously, but with physical, I imagine Amino being like kind of like the neutral one. Even though Amino really wasn't a neutral element, I still kind of thought of it that way for some reason. We don't know if these elements are actually going to react to each other. I assume they are going to react to each other like Genshin will, like Genshin did. I assume when we look at this that each of these elements are going to react to each other. Most likely that's what's going to happen, kind of like what Genshin did. But I'm not sure how it's going to work exactly. Like, is fire going to mix with lightning in some way? Is quantum going to mix with ice? Or wind is going to mix with, you know, physical or imaginary? We're not sure yet. But my speculation is, yes, they are going to mix with each other in some way, maybe at some sort of disadvantage or advantage, depending on which element you mix between the two, kind of like a chemical reaction. Last thing I want to go over is a little bit more of the gameplay. So in Star Rail, it basically plays almost the exact same as Genshin. A few things are different, such as I haven't seen any climbing in this game. I know you could climb in Genshin. I know you could also glide, but I don't think either one of those are in this game. I do know that the controls are going to be very similar. You know, clicking the hotkeys 1, 2, 3, 4 will change to your different characters. You can press F to interact with things. Moving around, WASD, same thing, basic controls. You'll also be able to still interact with treasure, gain different rewards such as like gems for summoning different characters. You'll also interact with things called space anchors, and these space anchors are kind of like shrines in Genshin where you could refill your HP at these locations, and you can also teleport to these locations. So that basically goes over most of the things I want to talk about today. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about more of the HUD and the different characters. We'll go over that. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys in the next one.